and they want this Congress to enact Trump's America's First agenda. And tonight, I am joined by the people that will make that happen. Many of the lawmakers responsible for getting this agenda across the finish line to help improve your lives, make your towns, your cities more safe, more secure, and to put more money in your family's pocket and make us the richest country on earth with energy, along with their leader, Speaker of the House. Let's give a warm congressional welcome to your Speaker, Mike Johnson. Great to see you, Mr. Speaker. How are you? Thank you. Wait a minute. When I walked in the room, I did not get that reception.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's great to see you. I'm glad everybody came tonight. I'm very grateful, actually, because I'm really here with one message, and I know you know what the message is.
Yeah.
But I think it's clear. You have a razor-thin majority. I know you'll go up to 5, which is still very thin.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of problems in this country. How can you get this caucus, the varying factions, the study group, the Saturday group, the Sunday group, the Freedom Caucus, all of them to understand that they have to work together?
Yes, the answer is yes. Welcome back to Capitol Hill. We're glad to have you. He did get a rousing applause when he walked in the room tonight. We assembled top leaders in the House to show you that we are unified, but not just unified, energized. There's a sea change in Washington. You felt it here. You were here during the inauguration events, and we're all still kind of riding high after that amazing set of events. I was with the president at the White House for 3 hours today with Leader Thune and other leaders from the conference here. We are all united on this agenda, Shauna. We know we've got to deliver on that America First agenda. We will. We've been working on it already. The president is already going to have legislation to sign. His executive orders came out as a flurry, as we expected. We're just getting started.
The Riley Act is first?
Exactly right. And that's a border provision, which actually got a few Democrat votes. What a concept, you know. They got the message in the election, just like everyone did. The American people had enough of the radical, woke, progressive agenda. They delivered Donald J. Trump a 77 million popular vote outcome. We got 74.7 million in the House, the highest popular vote total for the House ever, for the House Republicans. We have a mandate, and we're going to use it, and these are the people who are going to get it done.
Let me ask all of you in the room, you understand that you win or lose together. Does everyone get that?
Oh, yeah.
Does everyone understand that nobody in this room, and there are friends, new friends in this room, nobody here will get everything that they want? Do we understand that too?
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody gets that? Jim Jordan even agrees. We'll talk to Jim in a minute. But if people understand that when you talk to members, and I know there are people that are giving you a hard time, and you explain this concept to them, are they open to hearing you?
Yes, everybody is. We are having family conversations. That's part of it. We're a great deliberative body.
You throw food?
No food. No. Pencils, but no. Okay. We're in these rooms with whiteboards working it out. Everybody has different ideas, but our principles are the same. We want to scale down the size and scope of government. We want to get the border secured. We want to unleash American energy again, get back to energy dominance, and unleash the U.S. economy again. We got to make sure that we don't have the largest tax increase in U.S. history, which is what would happen if we fail in this mission by the end of this year. A lot of things on the table, but we all know that. We know how high the stakes are, and we are going to deliver for the people.
Okay. When you look at that insider advantage poll, I think it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
They want this unity. It seems that the agenda that they're saying that they want is the Trump agenda.
Yes.
Trump agenda, if you really break it down, to its simplest form, is not that complicated.
No.
If implemented, it would be transformational.
It would, and it follows common sense. That's the theme that you'll hear him talking about and all of us talking about. We all ran on that agenda. We were in our districts, and that's how we delivered that decisive outcome in the election. What this is getting America back, making America great again. It's not just a slogan. It's what we're actually going to accomplish, and it is going to be a new golden age in America, and we can't wait to get that thing going.
Let me talk a little bit, probably the two biggest issues in the campaign had to do with border security, the economy. And that's one thing that I think really hurt the Democrats is they were in denial and flat out lied to us repeatedly, saying the border is secure and the border is closed. It was never closed. We showed it every night. Joe was a cognitive mess for 4 years. I put on the best montages we've ever put on television that late night comics should have used. They lied about inflation being transitory. The average family is struggling. The cost of gasoline is $1.25, $1.50 more a gallon. I mean, these are real impactful issues for the people in Ohio and Indiana and Texas and all around our great country. And I think that was a big part of it. People are going to want results. They want them pretty fast. Sure. Now, starting with the border. We have known terrorists in the country. We have cartel members in the country. We have gang members in the country. We have known murderers. We have known rapists in the country. Okay, Remain in Mexico comes back. Love it. Build the wall. Love it. All of those things are important. How do you possibly, in a country of this size, find the people from Iran and Syria and Afghanistan, Egypt and Venezuela and Russia and China and get them the hell out of here?
It's a serious challenge, but it will be our focus. We're going to begin with the dangerous criminals that we can find pretty easily. Many of them have committed crimes in the country, of course, some violent acts upon Americans, and that's what the American people demand and deserve immediately. That starts now. Those executive orders were to jumpstart it, and we'll be codifying a lot of what the president has already signed, and we will fund this. We will restore the safety and security of the country for the American people. If you don't have a border, you don't even have sovereignty. And that's what people recognized in the election. They weren't buying the nonsense that the Democratic Party was selling.
What do you do about cities and states that are sanctuaries, safe havens for illegal immigrants?
Well, one of the things we have here is the purse strings, right? That's the power of the purse, and we've got to bring them to heel. These cities that have led to this chaos, that created the humanitarian catastrophe that came from that border, that we'll be living with for decades. It's going to take us a long time to unwind this. But to your point, the American people need to see immediate results. They're going to see resolve here. They're going to see action, not just talk, and that's already begun. Okay, let's go to a specific example. Our old friend Gavin Newsom. Okay. A lot of Gavin fans here, I can tell. I actually feel sorry for the people in California that were victims. Yeah, sure.
You know, what did they lose? 13,000 structures. I mean, it's terrible. And they never practiced the science of forestry.
No.
How do you have a fire hydrant that has no water? How do you have a reservoir that is empty?
Yeah.
That is government to me at its worst, right?
Right.
They didn't have controlled burns. They didn't clear the kindling, the brush that you should be clearing out. But you go to California, they're a sanctuary state. L.A. and San Francisco are sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
Okay. Gavin is doubling down on a fight Trump agenda, you know, Trump-proof California.
Right.
And so are you saying that California, if they continue to aid and abet law-breaking and harbor illegal immigrants, money from D.C. gets cut off?
Yeah, we're talking about conditions to this disaster rate. Look, there are natural disasters, but there are man-made disasters as well, and they made terrible decisions. You know, they knew exactly what they were doing. That reservoir outside Pacific Palisades, 117 million gallons, it was empty for a year. Why? They were trying to save a smelt fish or something. I mean, their policies are upside down. They made decisions that made that disaster exponentially worse, and this is what the American taxpayer is demanding of us everywhere else in the country.
Put take it a step further.
Yeah.
Any representatives from California here? Anybody? One. Okay. Hi.
He's bashful.
That's Gavin's cousin in the back.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Congressmen and women from California, Republicans, will come and say, if you do this to my state, I'll never win re-election.
Well, no, the Californians that are here are fiscal conservatives. They're fiscally responsible. They know that we owe the taxpayer some accountability for those funds. And so what we're talking about is making sure that they follow common sense in California. And if there's culpability for what happened, there really needs to be conditions that follow that aid. It's not unprecedented, by the way. After Katrina in my state, there were conditions placed upon the funds. It happened after Hurricane Sandy up in the Northeast. So there's a tradition of doing this, and in California, it certainly makes sense. So we're going to come to consensus on what that looks like.
Would conditions be tied to defund, dismantle, no bail laws?
I think all those issues have to be addressed. When you're talking about disaster aid, you don't want to leave the people, you know, who are really hurting without something because of the terrible political choices of their leaders. But we got to thread that needle the right way. But I think that what we're talking about here is restoring common sense, even in the state of California. Right. With the mandate we have, the responsibility we have, we're going to do that very thing.
Are we prepared to build, if Russia and China have hypersonic missile technology and we don't, and if I'm right, and I don't know if you all agree with me, if you don't, tell me, but the next generation of warfare, wars are not going to be fought on a battlefield.
That's right.
they're going to be fought in air-conditioned offices.
Yep.
You all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're behind. Am I wrong?
We have real concern about that. China is almost a peer-to-peer adversary with us. We're the last great superpower on the planet, but we have to think logically about how we fund our Defense Department. It is going to be drone warfare. It's going to be cyber warfare. It'll be all those new kinds of technologies, and we have to maintain our lead. We're the strongest nation in the history of the world. We're the most successful, most powerful. Also the most benevolent, by the way. But there's a reason for that. We prioritize spending, and we make sure that we maintain peace through strength. We got a new commander-in-chief, a new sheriff in town, and he's going to bring that back, and we're going to help.
Okay. And then I was talking to Claudia Tenney, who will join us a little later from New York. New York would not have to tax people and chase people like me away. I left. I'm gone. I'm done. And I hardly ever go back because they want to come after me.
Yeah.
Right? And I had to do like 65 things, according to accountants and lawyers, to establish residency last year in Florida. And I have it fully domiciled, homesteaded. But the question is, you know, because of the energy emergency declaration of the president, would that then, would the supremacy clause kick in as much as the federal government would have the right to insist that fracking take place in a state like New York, which would make them rich?
Yeah, so I'm a constitutional law attorney. I got that question 5 times today. We're trying to figure that out. Some of this is uncharted waters. I mean, an emergency energy declaration, what effect does that have on state laws? We're 10th Amendment guys. We're states' rights. But this genuinely is a national emergency, and it got to be addressed that way.
And they depleted our strategic petroleum reserves.
That's right.
As well. All right. Y'all having fun yet? We have a lot more to come. Straight ahead. We're just getting started. House GOP leadership will join us next to discuss how they will implement Donald Trump's agenda. That and much more as we continue. We are at our nation's capital, and it's freezing. Straight ahead. Welcome back. We are broadcasting live. We are in our nation's capital. President Trump has laid out an ambitious agenda for a second term, now planning to tackle the border crisis, economic ruin, countless other disasters that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris left behind. How does Congress plan on enacting Trump's agenda? Here to weigh in, we continue with Speaker Johnson, joined by House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and House GOP Conference Chair Lisa McClain. Congratulations. Good to see you. How are you all?
Great.
Okay. So nobody's going to get everything they want, Steve. We've been friends a long time. Do we agree on the fundamentals? In other words, you all win together, the country wins together, or we all lose together. There's no in between.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, you can see President Trump's focus is so much sharper. He really recognizes, you know, he was spared by God to get to this moment, and we have unified government. We have an opportunity that you don't get often. We've got to make this work. And if you do, and we're talking about the same things, by the way, we're all talking about lowering energy costs, getting rules and regulations under control, securing America's border, making sure we don't have a tax increase so we can get our economy moving again and lower inflation. Those are all things we talked about during the campaign. President Trump talked about them. We talked about them. So there is no daylight between us and President Trump. You know, and if you go back to 2017, there was a little bit of a difference between the president and Congress. You don't see that today. We're in sync. We're moving together. We had a great meeting at the White House today with President Trump, and he's ready to go, and we're ready to go to deliver on that agenda.
Well, you were there for 3 hours today, right? Yeah. And you had a meeting, just you and Majority Leader Thune and the president. Right. Then you brought in the leadership. How did that go today?
It was great. Vice President J.D. Vance was there as well. And we talked about the agenda. We talked about the importance of unity and how we're all energized to get this agenda done. And the president's excited. We can really see and feel the energy that the American people feel. I mean, something has changed in Washington, and we had to bring America back. President Trump represents that. He's a symbol of that to people around the country. A strong America again. And you know what? It's good for us, and it's good for everybody, all freedom-loving people around the world. And you're going to see a sea change like that around the globe.
Big part of your job is going to be to keep everybody together. How do you plan to make that work?
Well, the same way we did it last time. The last 2 years, we had 222 members. And everybody wants to focus on the fact that it's a small majority. Sean, it's a majority. We have the majority.
Good point.
And what I want to point out is that with 222, 221, and many times during the last Congress with less than that, because members have lives outside of here and they got to deal with illnesses and different things, we did it with less numbers. This group, the beauty of the Republican Party and these members, these men and women who have been sent here, they're fighting for their districts. And sometimes it doesn't look pretty because they're going to have disagreements, et cetera. But I'm here to tell you, under Mike's leadership and this whole group, we're going to get the job done at the end of the day. Failure is not an option.
There you go.
Okay, so I appreciate that. I'll go back to you, Mr. Speaker. The House and Senate have very different rules. In the Senate, reconciliation, you have to meet a lot of criteria to get that through. That means there's got to be a lot of coordination between you and the majority leader to get the language right. Does that hurt your ability to get it through the House? You want one bill. I know that a lot of senators, when they met with Donald Trump, they will push him very hard for two bills. I don't care if it's one bill or two bills, as long as you get it done quickly, especially on the economy, because that'll impact all of you. If you all want to be reelected, the economy better be in better shape.
Yes, and you know, there's more Republicans in the majority in the Senate than there are in the House for the first time in a long time. So we have a more complicated equation to work out here and a smaller margin, but we will get it done. Reconciliation is the mechanism that allows us to do this in a partisan way, so that it's Republican priorities that we squeeze into this. The reason the president talked about the one big beautiful bill, and the reason we talk about it as well, is because that's the most efficient and effective way to get it done. And if we stay on the aggressive timetable that we're on right now, we've been working on this for almost a year, preparing for this moment.
If you pass that one big beautiful bill, you pass it in the House, it gets sent over to the Senate.
Yep.
What do you think happens there?
I think we get it done by the end of April or certainly by Memorial Day.
Will the Senate, will they mark it up and you go into conference, or will they try to, separate it into two bills?
Well, if we're going to go for speed, we have to be closely coordinated, both chambers, and we are. I mean, I think the House Republicans and Senate Republicans are working as closely now, probably maybe that they ever have. And the reason we were at the White House today to begin the first day, I mean, they're literally, they're unpacking boxes at the Oval Office today. And the president hosted us because we don't have any time to waste. And it's serious business. And it was a great meeting. There's a lot of cooperation right now, and we're going to continue that.
He's been working. I live down in Florida, and I can tell you, because I talk to people around him and I talk to him, the guy does not stop working.
No. Never does he sleep, Sean.
He doesn't stop talking or working. I have talked to him every hour on the 24-hour day clock. Congresswoman, congratulations to you. Great to see you. Let's get your thoughts on one bill, two bills. Does it matter? How quickly? And how do you keep a small margin together?
Well, I think the beauty is we all agree at the same principle. We have to deliver to for the American people. They sent us a mandate, as Speaker Johnson said, and it's our job to fulfill that mandate, and we will fulfill that mandate. I think right now we're sitting at one bill. But at the end of the day, the American people and President Trump, we care about getting results. That is more important than anything. And President Trump has been very clear on that, this is the result I want. We prefer one bill in the House. We've been clear about that. And I think as we stand right now, we're going to put one bill on the floor, and we'll be very successful doing it.
Let me ask all four of you the same question. Republican Party, all the years I've been in talk radio, believe it or not, I started before Speaker Johnson was born in 1987. And we've talked about limited government and greater freedom. We talk about eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. Every year it comes up. It never happens. And if you reduce the rate of increase, they call it a cut, and you're stealing from grandma and grandpa, and you want them to eat dog food and cat food and die, and some Republican lookalike is going to push them off a cliff. Okay. Now you have something called DOGE. The new department, government efficiency, Elon Musk, smart guy. He believes he can cut $2 trillion. And my question for everybody in this room, are you ready to really reduce the size of government by $2 trillion so that we stop robbing from our children and our grandchildren? Is this the party of limited government?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes? And when you're going to cut the farm budget, and then you're going to cut the Department of Education and block grant money to the states at a lower rate, you're willing to take that stand and risk re-election.
Yeah. Well, because it's going to do right by the American people, and they will see the results of that. I mean, we are the party of limited government. We want to scale down the size and scope of government. It's too big. It does too many things. It does almost nothing well. And Elon is coming to recognize that. But we've been talking about this for a long, long time. And we have pages and pages of cuts that we're prepared to engage in. We're working on the consensus so that every district and every Republican gets on board with that. And we're going to deliver.
Think of all the slush funds, Sean. You know, the Inflation Reduction Act, that created the inflation that we see because it was trillions of new spending. The EV mandate. People don't want to buy the cars. You get $7,500 that somebody who's driving a pickup truck has to give to somebody who wants to go buy an electric vehicle. You can't even find a charging station for the thing. There's billions of dollars sitting in a slush fund that we're going to go take back and give to the taxpayer of America. Get rid of those things altogether. So it's not just about reducing spending. It's about getting rid of some of this waste that's out there in government. We're going to do that in the reconciliation bill.
Why would we make Ford lose $4.5 billion to make cars that their customers don't want? When you have Tesla, if you want to, I'm pro-choice in this sense. You want an electric, you want a hybrid, you want a gas-powered vehicle, have at it. I'm not buying your global warming crap when you're flying around the country and the world in your private jet. Thank you for the lectures. We don't need it. And let the free market determine that, Congressman.
I totally agree. And back to your question about you got Doge, everything else. Would it surprise you, Sean, because it doesn't get reported, the men and women that make up the Republican conference here in the U.S. House of Representatives, this is what they came for. They came to solve the deficit that we run on an annual basis of $1.7 to $2 trillion. They came to get the balanced budget and then start to pay off the debt so our kids aren't saddled with our excess.
That's word.
Yeah. The beauty of President Trump is he comes to this presidency with some unconventional, out-of-the-box thinking and ideas. That's very different than what we've seen under the previous administration. And I think it's going to take unconventional thoughts and policies to get us out of the situation that we're in right now. And that's what we're excited about.
I think this Congress, if you enact this Trump agenda, everyone watching in this audience knows what it is. You can be the most transformational Congress in history. We've not balanced the budget since Newt Gingrich was Speaker. I did it 5 times.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. Good to see you all. Thank you. When we come back, the one and only, he's even wearing a jacket tonight. Jim Jordan, James Comer, straight ahead. Also, we'll talk about the last-minute pardons of Joe Biden, that and more as we continue. We're live in our nation's capital. Straight ahead.